There's no need to be afraid.
Nathan.
The dust had hardly settled on the aftermath of the final battle with Bastion when we got a reveal about the fate of the missing X-Men in the final episode. Now, with the second season fast approaching, I feel like more fuel's been added to the fire due to the numerous promotional materials that have surfaced ahead of the show's June 13th Tribeca world premiere, while the exact Disney Plus release date is still waiting for Marvel's official confirmation. This is because these promotional materials feature several groups that have existed across the very long history of X-Men's publication, hinting that they will be making an appearance in the new season. Not only that, their presence also gives us an idea about the direction in which the upcoming season is going to be headed, and I, for one, am super hyped. In this video today, I'll be exposing all of the major groups that are speculated to be making an appearance in the second season of X-Men 97, and talking about their comic book history, along with their relevance to the TV show. So, without any further delay, let's begin. Team 1, the Ancient Egypt team, Lost in Time, 300 BC, and the Wasteland team, 3960 AD. In the final episode of Season 1, we were treated to this epic clash between Bastion and the X-Men, as they try to stop the villain from eradicating mankind. Having been foiled by Jean Grey and the Phoenix Force, Bastion fuses with Cable's arm and takes on a new form, following which he flies toward Asteroid M to hurl it towards Earth in order to cause an extinction event. I mean, this episode really did feel like a proper finale, as it shows the effects of the conflict beyond just the main fight. I thought it was really cool how they showed everyone from Captain America, Iron Man, and the likes of Daredevil doing their bit to save the world. In my opinion, it really drove home the dire nature of the situation. Anyway, as I was saying, Bastion flies towards Asteroid M, which is Magneto's flying base, and there he begins fighting with the various X-Men. However, at the end of the fight, the asteroid is destroyed, seemingly killing everyone on it. But right at the end of the episode, it's revealed that the X-Men and Magneto have been divided into different groups and flung into the far past and future respectively. The group that goes into the past comprises Rogue, Magneto, Nightcrawler, Beast, and Professor X. They appear in ancient Egypt, where they rescue a group of people from armed aggressors and join the fight alongside a young warrior. This warrior turns out to be En-Sabah-Nur, who we all know is eventually going to become the villain Apocalypse. I think the second season will revolve around how the events that take place with this group eventually shape Apocalypse's character, as we know him in the present. Meanwhile, the future storyline clearly begins with Jean Grey and Cyclops in the far future, where they encounter Mother Ascani and a young Nathan Summers. Promo art appears to place Wolverine, Storm, Morph, and even Forge into that far future wasteland setup, but the exact way they reunite still needs to play out on screen. From what I know of the Ascani, they are a group dedicated to ending the reign of Apocalypse, founded by Rachel Summers, who is Jean and Scott's daughter from the Days of Future Past timeline. The Ascani in the comics are responsible for raising Cable and preparing him to end Apocalypse's reign. However, what stood out to me was the fact that this Nathan Summers that we see at the end of the episode doesn't seem affected by the techno-organic virus yet, which raises the question of whether he will eventually become Cable or continue to fight as Nathan Summers. The upcoming season has left a lot of tantalizing prospects regarding the direction it will choose to go and the arcs it will explore, but there's no doubt that these two time-lost groups will have a key role in it. X-Force. Out of all the groups that have been hinted to show up in the upcoming season, X-Force is probably the one that I'm personally looking forward to the most. Originally created by Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza, X-Force made its debut in the New Mutants comic series, issue number 100 in 1991. In its original 90s form, X-Force was Cable's harder-edged, militarized, proactive mutant team. Not exactly Xavier's dream wrapped in diplomacy. Later versions, especially the Wolverine-led and Uncanny X-Force eras, pushed the concept further into Black Ops territory. including missions the main X-Men would never publicly approve. Basically, they would do the dirty business that was considered to be well above the moral pay grade of the X-Men. I loved the shift in tone toward a more proactive role that the group adopted, compared to the usual reactive role that the X-Men believe in. They are definitely edgier and darker, in my opinion, than what the fans are usually used to, and their inclusion in the upcoming season perhaps hints at a much bleaker setting as well. Over the years, the roster for X-Force has featured many different characters, depending on the era, including the likes of Wolverine and Deadpool. From what I can see on the poster, the new season is going to feature an X-Force, whose members are going to be plucked from the original X-Force and the Uncanny X-Force from 2010. As of now, from what I've seen in the promo posters, aside from Jubilee, every other character in it, like Cable, Archangel, Sunspot, and Psylocke, has previously featured in an X-Force roster. With the senior members of the X-Men battling in both the future and the past, it looks like X-Force will be the one to shoulder the burden of protecting all of mankind and mutants, and I, for one, am hyped as hell for it. X-Factor. Just like X-Force, we've seen numerous versions of the X-Factor group as well over the years. The group actually made its debut in 1986 in X-Factor issue number 1, written by Bob Layton with art by Jackson Butch Juicy. The original team comprised the 5 main X-Men at the time: Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast, Angel, and Iceman. During this era in Marvel Comics, mutants were largely ostracized and feared by the general populace. And in that original setup, the 5 original X-Men publicly posed as mutant hunters through X-Factor investigations, while secretly rescuing young mutants and training them. This dual dynamic instantly offered something fresh to the audience, which, in my opinion, led to the group becoming a memorable part of X-Men history. As I was saying earlier, the group has gone through numerous changes depending on the author and the era, and the X-Factor for the upcoming season looks like it's going to be the one from the 1990s. Why I can say this with confidence is because the poster featuring the group is the exact roster of the X-Factor from the 1990s government-sponsored era. Owing to the widespread chaos, anti-mutant sentiment, and a rise in superhuman incidents, the government wanted its very own group of mutants it could control to tackle these threats. However, unlike the original version, they weren't really meant to hunt mutants. The best way I could explain it is that they function as a mutant law enforcement group backed by the government. The group consisted of Havoc, who is Cyclops' younger brother Alex Summers, Magneto's daughter Polaris, Multiple Man, Wolfsbane, and Strong Guy. The early 90s X-Factor style roster appears to feature Havoc, Polaris, Multiple Man, Wolfsbane, and Strong Guy, with Val Cooper seemingly acting as a government liaison. Regardless, I'm pretty sure that due to the pressure that the president was clearly under during Bastion's rampage, POTUS may sanction the creation or expansion of X-Factor for a similar reason: to have a government-backed mutant unit that can respond to mutant-related crises. I think you must have noted that this roster doesn't exactly inspire confidence, because they're made up of powerful but unstable individuals who have their own deep issues that they're constantly dealing with. I can't wait to see how this ragtag group will function to overcome the aftermath and chaos of the previous season, as mutants and mankind enter a new and uncertain era. X-Corp. The final version of the X-Men group that we're likely to see in the second season of X-Men 97 is X-Corp. Well, I think calling X-Corp a group in the same sense as I've called the other groups that I've discussed here might be somewhat of a misrepresentation of what it truly is. X-Corp is tricky because Marvel has used the idea in more than one way. The version Season 2 seems to be visually teasing looks closer to the Grant Morrison New X-Men era concept, where Xavier expands mutant outreach and protection through a global organization, rather than jumping straight into the full Krakoa-era corporate setup. In the comics, the idea of X-Corp is connected to Xavier thinking beyond just one school or one superhero team, and trying to build a wider structure to protect mutant rights around the world. This alone tells us a great deal about what we can expect in the second season, in my opinion. My educated guess is that after the groups from the past and the future return, having inevitably been changed by their battles against Apocalypse's influence across time, their rivals are reconciled. Thanks to Charles having helped Magneto come to terms with the hatred in his heart, and having faced the ordeals in the past together, their friendship may be rekindled, and together they may decide to set aside their differences and create a safer future for all mutants. I'm thinking the first step toward this goal will be the formation of X-Corp, which could eventually push the TV show towards bigger Mutant Nation ideas. Whether this becomes the full Krakoa setup is still only speculation, but X-Corp should be the show's first step toward Xavier thinking bigger than just a school or superhero team. The need for this wider structure will be further accentuated by the widespread mutant hate that emerges due to the aftermath of the first season, creating the urgency for mutants to have their own space and their own organized defense. The poster for this group certainly seems to hint at this, because it features most of the characters from the past and future group, along with the likes of Bishop and Polaris. I'm looking forward to seeing how the TV series actually represents this group on screen later this year.
So much death.
The villain, Apocalypse, and the Four Horsemen. The villain Apocalypse has already made an appearance in the TV show, and his most iconic scene so far, in my opinion, has to be the one where he pulls out one of Gambit's cards from the ashes of Genosha's ruins. We then get to see a much younger version of him in ancient Egypt, where he's encountered by Magneto, Charles Xavier, Rogue, Beast, and Nightcrawler. This has led me to believe that Apocalypse is probably going to be the big bad of the upcoming season. The fact that the second season is also going to feature the X-Factor group is also significant and pointing towards this direction, because Sabah Nur and the Horsemen are closely tied to the original X-Factor comic era. In the comics, during the Mutant Massacre arc of 1986, written by Chris Claremont and Louise Simpson, Warren Worthington is severely injured and almost killed. He's only one of the many casualties of this storyline, which would significantly change the tone of the X-Men comics to a much more grim and brutal feel. Apocalypse first encountered the X-Factor corner of Marvel history in X-Factor issue number 6, and his most iconic early move came after Warren Worthington's wings were mutilated during a mutant massacre fallout. After Warren's wings were amputated and he reached his lowest point, Apocalypse remade him into Death, later known as Archangel, with metal wings and a far darker identity. It's during this era, as multiple storylines are taking place at the same time, that Apocalypse begins recruiting mutants to fill the positions of his prized lieutenants, the Four Horsemen of Apocalypse. Just like their biblical counterparts, each horseman is themed after death, pestilence, famine, and war. And over the years, numerous mutants have occupied these roles. The one that we're almost guaranteed to see as a horseman is Archangel with his metal wings. The next mutant who will submit to Apocalypse, I think, will be Gambit, even though he's presumed to be dead. I think that scene with Apocalypse pulling out a damaged card from Genosha's ruin is major foreshadowing for this. Then Wolverine might also be converted into a horseman, having served in that capacity in the comics before. In fact, all three of these characters have been Horsemen of Apocalypse at various points in their character histories, so I don't think it'd be any surprise to see them assume the role in the upcoming season as well. For the fourth member, I've heard numerous shoutouts to characters like Storm or Madeline Pryor, but my bet is on Polaris, because she too has served as a horseman in the past. I think the appearance of the Horsemen is the easiest to predict, because where there is Apocalypse, the Horsemen are never far behind. Things are looking really spicy for the upcoming season, don't you think? With so many iconic X-Men groups from across their history seemingly set to make an appearance in the upcoming season, if the promo material and merchandise are to be believed, the second season of X-Men 97 looks like it's going to be an absolute banger. As an older fan, I'm excited to see the animated versions of these groups and their storylines. And at the same time, I'm probably more excited to see new fans get introduced to them. These groups highlight just how deep the X-Men lore and legacy really run, and X-Men 97 seems to be a celebration of this very thing. Which is your favorite group from among the ones I've covered today? Let me know in the comments. For now though, it's time for me to say goodbye. I hope to see you soon on the next one. Until then, stay safe and stay marvelous.